Are you getting ghosted in your DMs? Let's fix that. So I had a call with one of our clients the other day, and he has a setter closing for him, and he had 200 chats, but without booking one single sales call. Now that's the problem. So we went through the chats, and I want to go through with you, how do you avoid getting ghosted inside their chats? What's the normal mistakes people do inside the DMs? And this is for you if you chat yourself, and it's also if you are having a team, you have a setter that is chatting on your behalf. How do you then train them to get better results? There is 5 steps we want to always go through when we are chatting. Step number 1 is create rapport. The first step is about getting people to actually have a conversation with you, meaning that they reply to you in a DM. We want to make sure it's a conversation, not a monologue. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is we want to start digging down to understand what is the problem of the frustration our avatar is seeing. Step number 3 is we want to serve them something. This is because we want them to see more of your brand, so we warm them up in a faster pace. So we want them to spend more time on your brand faster. This is where they get to know, like, and trust you faster if they come in as a cold lead. And then we go to the next step, and that is finding out what's their goal. Figuring out what is the goal they want to achieve. Then we go to the next step, that is qualifying them. Qualifying, are they ready to move? Are they interested in investing in themselves and to move forward? And then, only then, we give an offer. Now, these are the steps, but if I saw into the DMs that the setter was doing for my client, there were some clear mistakes. The reason why he did not schedule one single sales call from 20 chats was these, and I've seen them a lot of times, so I'm going to go through the most important mistakes coaches are doing in their DMs that gets them ghosted. So step number 1, how you start the conversation. And you start conversations on everything. Whenever anyone is starting to follow you, if they comment on anything you do, those are the inbound. They show some interest or they come to you first. Let's focus on those in this episode. You start a conversation. Now, the funny thing was that this person was an actually human setter. It wasn't an AI bot setting for him. It was a human setter. But some of the answers he got from the leads he was speaking to is, am I speaking to a bot? Well, that's a huge problem. If you actually have a human being having conversations, that sounds like a bot. And the reason that happened was, step number 1, he had the same opener for everyone. And it was very clear he did not watch the profile when he started to chat with people. Because he simply said, hey, thank you for the follow. And are you an avatar in the first message? That is per se not a problem if the person you are chatting to is not showing in the profile who they are. We can ask them in the first one. So it's not a mistake per se. But the problem was a lot of the people he was chatting with, when you're in the DMs, you could literally see on the name, because this client, he works business to business. So he is working with brick and mortar businesses. But you could literally see in their name that they were a business and what they did. Carpenter, this thing, or electrician business, this thing. So in that case, it's a really stupid idea to start a chat saying, hey, are you a, it says in my name. What does that mean? For the person, you always need to put yourself into the other person's shoes. What does it feel like being on the other side? And if you're getting a random chat that immediately shows that you did not even read their profile name, and then you start asking, what does that show? It shows one thing that we do not want our elites to feel, that you are targeted, that they didn't even do the effort to read the name or click in to see your profile. That's the mistake number 1. Make sure you adapt it to who it is. So, hey, I see you are a carpenter. I see you run an electrician business. Step number 1. Step number 2, per se, it's a great thing to do. If you get a new follower, it's great to start off saying, hey, is there any specific reason why you follow this profile? Was there anything that you want to get out? So we can't say anything about this. It's a great question to ask to get people to immediately let you know if they were looking for something special. So we can ask, hey, was there anything specifically that caught you interest in my profile or in my content? Or you just here snooping around? Again, I'm asking as a question. And that wasn't a problem. But the next problem was then he kept asking questions about, so why are you following my profile? Instead of turning the conversation away, because we have another principle now. We have several principles we need to live up to. The first principle is you need to have a reply. Always get a reply fast. If you ask questions about yourself, people they're cold. They just came into your profile and you start asking questions about yourself. They're just like, they don't have a need. They don't know you. They don't owe you anything. They don't care about you. So what you do instead is you turn it around. Ask questions about them. If you want to get a reply, give them something to reply to, which means ask them a simple question. Step number 1 is always give them a compliment. Hey, I just noticed your pictures. I just noticed your profile. It looks really good. What does that mean? It's, again, you show them that you actually put in a little bit of effort to care about them, because no one cares how much you know unless they know how much you care, right? So put in a little bit of effort there, and then ask them a simple question about them, not about you. And that was a huge mistake this setter was doing. He kept asking questions, went straight into what's your biggest problem in your business? Like, it's like, hello. F-U-C-K, are you to ask me that? It's a completely cold person who has not yet responded to anything. Don't ask that crazy hard-on question before you get any response first. So instead, go in and say, hey, I love this thing. And then ask them, hey, how long have you been in business? Or what region are you placed in? Or what is the kind of task you normally do for your clients? You see, these are very easy questions for them to want to answer to, because it's easy for everyone to answer something that's about themselves. And people do want to say something about themselves. Of just giving them a compliment, they would naturally say, hey, thank you. And when they say thank you, you start the ground to have a conversation. So that is awesome. Now we start having a conversation. Now this setter, the mistake he was doing is that he started asking directly, what's your problem? Yes, a few people answered to that, which made the setter believe it was a great question. However, we can make it way better, right? So when people are coming in, this person is helping brick and mortar businesses to get more time for the owner themselves, because better structures, better practices, better SOPs, run the business in a way you get more time. So this means that these are people who are busy. They don't have any time. And you ask them an open question. We want to avoid open questions, because an open question, what's the biggest problem in your business? First of all, you are implying that they have a problem. They don't know you. They're cold. So let's say you meet someone on the street and you go up to them and you say to them, hey, what's the biggest problem you have about this thing? It's like, I don't have a problem. So it can be a problem asking the problem question. I know you were taught that back 5-10 years ago in setting. I know this is what these old school setters were taught, so that's why they do it. But there's so much better ways to do today, because everyone's used to getting DMs, but they get you ghosted. So if you ask an open question, it requires them to come up with a long answer, and they're busy. They don't have time, which means they put you aside to, I'll answer that later if they want to answer it. So the better part is to turn it around and then give them what we call a choice option. Hey, I'm curious, now you're here. Let me see if I can send something that will be useful for you. Just let me know. What are you focusing on the moment? A, B, or C? So you take 3 things that you are focusing on in your business that you know your avatar is absolutely focusing on as well. You want better structures. You want to get more time. You want to get more clients. Now you're already framed for them that it's one of these ones, and they will just answer that. So you'll have way more answers to the questions by just turning that around. Now, when you have that, the setter made a huge mistake asking the first question, because people were actually answering to him and they actually answered what the problem was, but the setter did not listen. He continued. He was so focused on his next task. He knew, ask the problem, it's necessary, ask the goal, and then book a call. That was his thinking. He was so stuck in what I need to do. He forgot to read the answer. So when people said, my biggest problem is planning, he went straight to the next question asking, so great, I see that. So what's your goal in the next 5 years? So he did not pick up, he just got some gold. What he should have done instead is when someone answer, yes, you definitely address it like this setter did. Okay, I hear you. But then you dig down. If the answer is within the scope of what you do in your business, dig down. Oh, planning, you say? Ask one question, not all three of them, but ask one question. So what is that costing you? Why is planning a problem for you? And he can say, well, planning is a problem because I spend way too much time. We are not being efficient. Okay, what do you believe that is costing you? See, now I start digging down. I want to first figure out what is the problem, and then I want to dig down so we go into what is the real problem here. But this setter went straight to what's your goal. We first want to know what's the gap. And then I would like to put in a little bit of servings in there when it's called people. That's okay. We can skip that if you don't want to, and we can go straight to goal. But the setter made a huge mistake. The setter asked, where do you want your business to be in 5 years? 5 years? And let me just ask you who are listening to this right now. Do you know where you want to be in 5 years? Like, you need to be in some personal development thing to even been thinking about 5 years. Again, it's a huge question. I don't know where I want to be in my 5 years. It's far away. So when you're asking questions about people's goal, ask a question that is in front of them, because no one either is going to start a process of something that would give me a result in 5 years. It's completely irrelevant. So you ask the question, okay, I understand your problem. Now we understand the problem because we dug down. So understand, how would you like it to be? Let's say in the next 3 months. Because that is within like what I'm planning for right now, which means I can see it. It's relevant for me. It's right in front of me. So when you ask questions about goals, it needs to be in a time span that's close to now. And then after that, we need to qualify. Is this something you want to fix now? We qualify. Is this something you want to fix now or later? If I gave you a system that would help you to get your planning, do that, and get that goal in 3 months, would that be interesting to you? Yes, it would. We qualified. Now we can ask them, would it be valuable for you if we jump on a call and we have a chat about what that could look like? Now they would say yes. But the most important thing, they would have been following you all the way down because you make it relevant, you listen to them, you controlled the conversation all the way, and they felt served and seen, not targeted. And that's what you need to make sure happens in any chat you ever have with a lead. You should be able to book a sales call on every 20 chat. You should be able to schedule a call. If it's the right leads you get into your pipeline. At least then you should be. Because now you have a qualified lead coming on a call, open and curious about your solution, not just scheduled calls. Because if you schedule calls with unqualified people, what happens? Well, you're going to make it really hard to sell and close afterwards. If you want to learn more about doing DMs, watch below. We put in the complete DM guide below. Go and grab it absolutely for free.